Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm doing a romance recommendation and this one is on Second Chances. Before we get into the video, I will link my playlist for all of the past recommendation videos that I've done before. So if you want to search for other recommendations that I've done, the link is down below. I'm sorry if you can hear some loud noise. They're doing construction and then there's also people yelling in the basement. It's not my day. It's not my day. I have a good amount of second chance romances to recommend for you guys today. And I have recently had an appreciation for second chance romances. I don't know what it is, but I've began to love them a lot more than in the past. Yeah, let's get started on my recommendations. So the first one is Rookie Move by Sarina Bowen. This is book one in the Brooklyn Bruisers series. This is actually one of my favorite hockey romances, like, of all time. I really, really love this one. This follows Leo and Georgia, who were high school sweethearts, and Leo broke up with Georgia to focus on his hockey career. And then 6 years later, Leo is on a NHL team, the Brooklyn Bruisers team, and Georgia is the new publicist for the team, and so they are brought back together. I love this book. It's super cute, and I loved both characters and their romance, and I'm a sucker for a good hockey romance, so I absolutely love this book. Also, I'm pretty sure the third book is also a second chance romance as well. And this one is about the goalie. But the first book is definitely my favorite. The next one I have to recommend is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is actually probably my favorite Christina Lauren book. This one I feel like is really underrated. Not a lot of people have read this one. I also feel like not a lot of people like it, but I did. I really, really loved this. This follows Macy and Elliot, who were neighbors when they were teenagers, and they fell in love and something happened that kind of tore them apart. It doesn't say how many years that they've been separated, but they're now adults, and Macy is kind of moving on with her life, and then she runs into Elliot, and it kind of brings up all of these past emotions. And this book kind of alternates between the past and the present, so you kind of see how they fell in love as teenagers and them now as adults. And this book is just really sweet and heartfelt, and I just really loved it. And the ending, I will say, is not my favorite. I can see why people read this and then the ending kind of ruins it for them, because it kind of did ruin it for me just a little bit, but I still gave this 5 stars, and it definitely is one of my favorites by Christina Lauren. I realize for a lot of second chance romances, it's always how they dated in high school and then they broke up, and then years later they reunite and fall back in love. So I guess it's kind of pointless for me to explain what each book is about, because it's kind of all the same thing, just done a little differently and with different characters. The next one I'm going to recommend is The Good Luck Charm by Helena Hunting. This is another hockey romance, but I really, really love this one. Again, it's kind of the same thing. Lila and Ethan dated in high school, and Ethan broke up with Lila to focus on his hockey career, and he didn't want to drag Lila around with him. He just didn't want to ruin her future, so he decided to break up with her. And 8 years later, Ethan gets traded back to his hometown, and he ends up bumping into Lila, and he kind of thinks that they can just start back up. And Lila is just not sure that she wants to go back to them being together. Really sweet, really cute. This was actually one of my favorite books of 2018. I had to think of the year that this came out. Yeah, this is one of my favorite books. I really, really love it, and I feel like it has a good amount of hockey and a good amount of second chance romance stuff. It's just a great book. The next one I'm going to recommend is Eleanor and Gray by Brittany C. Cherry. This is a really heavy and emotional and a beautiful book. I feel like that is the way I describe all of Brittany C. Cherry's books, but all of her books are just, they get you in the emotions. This follows Eleanor and Gray, who fall in love as teenagers, and they have a lot going on in their own lives, so they definitely lean on one another, and they have like this really insane, heavy, emotional bond. And Eleanor ends up moving away with her family, and eventually they lose contact, and years later Gray is dealing with a lot in his life. He is a single dad, and he lost his wife. He is in need of a nanny. Eleanor ends up applying for the nanny position, but she doesn't realize that the position is for Gray's children. So it's kind of like this weird twist of fate. I'm not explaining this book very well, but it's just so beautiful, and Gray is trying to raise his daughters and move on from his dead wife. Eleanor is just trying to help him in any way, but she also wants a second chance with him. It's just so beautiful. I highly recommend, if you want some good crying moments, I recommend Eleanor Gray. The next book I recommend is Undeniable by Melanie Harlow. I always recommend this book or this series. I feel like it fits for almost every trope. This is book 2 in the series. You don't have to read them in order, although I do recommend it because it does make the experience that much more enjoyable. This follows Oliver and Chloe, who were childhood rivals in a way. They always were in a competition with one another, and as they grew up and when they became teenagers, the stakes were much higher. There becomes a situation that kind of shows Chloe that she wants nothing to do with Oliver anymore, and that's final. It's it. I can't remember how many years, but Oliver is back in Chloe's life and he wants a second chance, and Chloe is not sure that she wants to give Oliver that second chance because she feels like she's given him so many chances already. Again, I'm not explaining this book very well. I love this series and I highly recommend it. This is also kind of a little bit of enemies to lovers. I feel like this whole series has a lot of second chances and like friends to lovers. It's a very beautiful series. I highly recommend, but if you specifically want second chances, this one and Unforgettable are a lot heavier in the second chance department. I have a few more that I'm just going to quickly kind of mention. So Southern Storms by Brittany C. Cherry is sort of a second chance romance. It's not that heavy in the second chance romance because they didn't really have time to fall in love as teenagers or as kids that much, but they definitely remember each other and have a lot of emotional attachment to that relationship that they had as children. So I wouldn't say it's super second chance romance, but like it still kind of is. I love this book. I've talked about it a million times. It's beautiful. Highly recommend. I do recommend Close to You by Kristen Proby, which is kind of second chance romance. They both had crushes on each other when they were younger, but they never pursued it. It's like 12 years later and they finally have that chance. I love this series. It follows a bunch of women who run a restaurant and they each find love. I think also in this series, Savor You is also a second chance romance as well. Love Story by Lauren Lane is another great second chance romance. Also Dirty Thoughts by Megan Erickson is another good one that I really enjoyed. The Mighty Storm by Samantha Towell is another good one. This is a rock star romance. I really love this series. So good. I love Jake and True so much. Definitely a favorite. And the last one that I have is Stepbrother Dearest by Penelope Ward. This is also a really great second chance romance. I really loved this one. It's not the best written book I've ever read, but I just really loved it. I think the characters were so interesting and I love how it was kind of a little bit of like bully romance. I really love this book. So those were just some of the second chance romances that I had to recommend today. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you have any second chance romance recommendations, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!